We're going to go over how you can set yourself up with a operations budget for your call center. It's pretty straightforward. If you're in a home service based business, if you're running a solar company, a roofing company, an installer company, if you're doing home exteriors or interiors, this is probably for you. You can use this to build yourself a call center technically. If you're trying to seek the how or the hidden costs behind how it's being built in the backstage, this is a very resourceful video you could look into. So to start with, you have technically, like, in order to get started with how you can like build your planning from the get-go, you need to set yourself up at a projected budget, or how much do I have to spend on this. So a preset, very, very good preset budget setup is going to be at $10,000 or more. If you're investing at a very low amount, anything lower than $2,000, you might not meet the right expectations that you're building in your head. Because in order for you to fully build a team from inside out, you're going to need to have an extensive experience of operations. If you're doing it yourself, or if you're hiring someone in operations to do it for you. So the ideal amount of agents you're going to need to start at a proper operation is going to be 10 agents. But here's the thing. If you're measuring it by the appointment cost, for example, having two agents on your staff is going to cost you an average of $170 to $155 per appointment. And we're not even talking about qualified appointments here. We're talking about all the appointments. Okay. So your average could get to the point where your cost per appointment is going to be diving anywhere between $200 to $250, maybe $350 if depending on the quality layers of your appointment. Now, if we do this simple change of adjusting it towards 10 agents, this is where you want your sweet spot to be at. It will cost you about $31,000 to operate a call center of a size of 10 agents full time. But here's the thing, for you to have this amount of agents in, this is you projecting about 250 to 400 appointments on average to be booked on a monthly basis. Your cost per appointment is going to be anywhere between $125 to probably lower than $90 an appointment. So in order for you to get this whole thing started the right way, you need to look into an operations director first. This is the first person you're going to need to hire in order for you to survive a build out that complicated. Someone that has enough experience to build, hire, and find the right talent for you in terms of the callers, in terms of the quality people, in terms of the managers that are going to lead the teams of those callers. So you have to find an operations person. Do not hire a quality control person first. You have to have yourself an operations person. If you're willing to take this as your own call center and start building it yourself, then you have to be the operations person. You have to work the dialer. You have to make sure that your quality control person is auditing them and giving you the right quality layers for sending those leads through. So assuming that like those cost projections are assumed by the market average for offshore or onshore hiring. So if you're hiring outside of the States, you're looking at a typical average anywhere above $10 an hour towards 20, maybe $30 an hour, depending on the experience level that you're seeking. Same thing goes with customer success managers. You can hire those internally or you can have them offshore as well. Really up to you on that part. If you're an agency, then that's a customer success manager. You definitely need one of those so you can survive your existing customers with their attention, making sure their requests are being met and all that stuff. When it comes to quality control, that's a very crucial part. So you have to do one of two things. You can either automate every single audit through AI, and it's going to be probably equivalent to what a quality control person is going to cost you. Or you could hire someone that handles your quality control process, handles the leads being dispatched from caller to the dialer. Now, when it comes to the caller and the dialer thingy, the caller can send you the appointment straight up without having to have a quality control process to begin with. That is absolutely doable. A quality control person is necessary at some point when you're having a team that generally is going through an intensive set of tasks. If your submissions are taking too long, if you have a lot of questions that need to be filled out, this is where you absolutely need a quality control person so they can differentiate between different campaigns and how you can submit those appointments through. You're probably going to need more than one of them for each of your customers, or you're going to need one of them for all of your customers, depending on how your volumes are being met. At 10 callers total, It's going to cost you an average projected cost of $5 an hour. This is how much it costs in the market for you to get a caller to do your appointment setting or do your lead generation and then submit that lead into a form for you. On average, people that cost this much technically are anywhere between booking you 20 to 30 appointments a month. This is on the hourly rate. It's not really going to serve you any better because the market standard is where you want to be at below $100 or $150 per appointment. It's not really about how much you're spending, but it's about getting to this projected cost. You don't want to spend more than $200, $300 per appointment. You want to spend below 150 at all times. And it's pretty doable. You have to get to a specific size in order to do it. Yes. The more callers you'll get at some point, the better. Yes. Because this type of model is non-linear. You're going to get managers just once. You don't have to keep hiring managers all the time. So if you're getting anywhere between 10 to 20 agents, your cost per appointment goes drastically lower as you go up. But here's the thing. There's always a ceiling to where it should stop. So if your call center is getting towards more than 20 callers on total, you need to stop there for a second and then maybe think about it for a bit. Like, do I really want to spend more than $50,000 a month on a call center? What if it goes bad? What if I'm not at this point of appointments cost? Like, what do I do here? This is where you need to start diversifying after your 10th caller, because it's not healthy to have all your eggs in one basket, technically, when it comes to marketing. So I would recommend personally not going above 10 callers per team. That keeps your team healthy. It keeps them not overwhelmed enough, and it keeps them in a pretty good shape when it comes to the production size. Getting to 20 callers, you have to start resetting and building a new team to start with. Or you could departmentalize it and turn it into like unit blocks where each unit is managed by a unit manager or supervisor, and have them oversee the operation from there. So for every 20 callers, get yourself one operations manager, one customer success manager, one quality control person, and one trainer. So what happens technically is you're going to, like, once you started hiring your operations director, they are supposed to be qualified enough to wear any hat you want. That is, an operations manager is all of those combined. Technically, they can be they can pretty much do any type of task that involves the call center being worked or active. That includes building the script for you, building the processes, doing the contracts or the agreements for your callers, pretty much everything from A to Z. If you're going for a lower threshold on the cost side when it comes to the operations, make sure to, you have to know that it is going to affect you later on the long term, because you won't be able to scale up enough if you don't have enough extensive skills to expand the operation. So you have to be very careful on who to select for this type of role. It has to be someone on the same level when it comes to operations experience on building all those processes together, or you're going to face some hiccups when it comes to getting into operations intricacies later on. Now, getting to the part about the CRM, when it comes to building a call center up to 20 agents or so for those types of models, it is not recommendable that you put every person into a license into your CRM. However, you have to put your high-end admin personnel into your CRM. So that's about 3 seats that's going to cost you in your CRM. When it comes to quality control, this part is a little bit too complicated, but it could be very, very straightforward and simple. So an agent books an appointment, they send it through a form, quality control listens to it, sends the lead through. This is how the quality control as a process needs to look like. They have to review those calls, listen to them. They have to review the notes, listen to those notes. And after they review the whole thing, they have to create a unified template and share those appointments in that manner. That applies to all types of home exteriors, home interiors, in-person services, even B2B calling could apply the same. When is a good time for me to think I don't need a quality control? A to Z like that. If your callers are struggling with filling out the information and that's keeping them away from making more calls, then you have to get yourself a quality control person, or you have to adapt with AI, plugging an AI into the calls, auditing all of them, and getting you a review uniformly. It's either AI or it's going to be a quality control person. So when it comes to the data procurement, this part is a little bit tricky. The industrial average cost per lead you can get if you're doing it using a platform, or if you're getting it using multiple platforms, or if you're just directly buying it from a vendor, it's going to typically cost you anywhere between 2 cents to about 4.5 cents per contact. Now, you have to diversify how you're procuring your data, but the industrial perfect average for every seat that you have has to be about 20,000 records for every seat. So on our end, we do 40,000 records for every seat. The reason why is because we don't want to do more than 1 or 2 rounds for for our lists when it comes to our callers dialing time, 1 month of dialing fresh new leads. We don't want to do secondary or third or fourth touches until we've reached all of the area first. Then we can do the round two. Doing a round two within 2 to 3 days is unhealthy for your campaign. So it's perfect if you're doing rounds every week. Let's just assume this is a list of 10,000 people. You start procuring the list and having it go live. For one seat dialing 10,000, it's going to take him 1 week to fully finish dialing those 10,000. On week two, they're supposed to be at the second round and the third round. So the rounds go faster that way, but the production is going to start stalling here. So the first week out of this 10,000, you probably got yourself 7, maybe 8 appointments. Week two, you're only going to end up booking 3. So in order to keep yourself consistent, you have to buy data weekly. Do not buy data monthly. Do not buy data bi-weekly. You have to buy it weekly so you can get the right returns from that list. And then you can revise what areas brought you how many appointments and what areas are getting you appointments at cheaper. This is where you can revisit what your cost per appointment is per area. And this is where you can decide which other areas do you want to hit, or if you want to double down on those areas that got you the lower appointment cost. Now, getting to the part about staff auditing, HR directing, or assistants, they're not really useful until you're at about 25 callers in total. This is where you can start hiring these personnel so they can automate the process fully for you. You could pretty much put this process fully hands off if you have the right operations experience on it. So it is absolutely doable that you can build yourself a call center at 5,000 a month in total spends, and then start growing it from there as you build up your ROI. If you're following a $1,000 package type of a call center, you might make returns from it a month or two, but it is going to be very highly inconsistent in terms of its production and the quality metrics. It's not sustainable enough for you. If you're spending 1,000, 2,000 every month and hoping for results to happen, it is a pretty good approach, but it doesn't work with 70, 80% of who tries it. So if you're planning to do it the right way, you have to start from a scaling perspective, looking at how you can start it or set it off where it's going to make you enough money. 250 projected appointments at 31,000 total cost is something I've personally done for a lot of customers. But here's the thing: whenever you are getting to the point where you're at 10 callers and you're booking an average 250, 300 appointments, your initial cost, like this $31,000 cost, is going to translate about maybe 100,000 sales. You could typically make about maybe 8 to 12 installs in shoulder with $31,000 down. You can still spend the same $31,000 into doing opt-in data. You can do it with digital marketing. You can do cold emailing on it. You can do all of them at the same time. That's the right strategy to do it. If your budget is sitting anywhere between $25,000 to $40,000, it is absolutely recommendable that you can build a mini call center and merge that up with your cold emailing campaign and a digital marketing campaign. Your diversity here is going to be very profitable for you on the return side. And on the conversions, you can start doubling down whenever you're getting the most results from. Now, getting to the part about the recruitment commission here, this part here is kind of crucial for when you're starting to hire those people. You can't seek them personally, or it's going to take you about a month or so of doing interviews yourself or trying to screen those people. So it is recommendable that you could reach to any HR agency out there and seek those callers from them. You should get to those callers at the step rate that you're seeking, or at the whatever structure that you're looking into. But to get 10 callers in, it's going to technically take you about maybe 3 weeks of initiating, maybe 4 weeks. And if you don't have an operations director with you, it's going to probably take you a couple months, maybe 3 months. But if you're doing it intensively and that's the only thing you do, probably 3 weeks. So when it comes to, in order to keep up with the dialer the right way, for every area that you're dialing, you need to measure the volume of calls that you're making. If you're at that ratio every day, doing 60 calls for every phone number they have, you're absolutely not going to have any spams on your phone. You're not going to have any spam flag numbers on your phone number DIDs list. If you are following the right practices for the DIDs, which is at 60 calls a day for every phone number, that you should be able to hit the metric where you're not going to have any spam flags on your DIDs. So that puts you in a pretty good position when it comes to going for high quality conversations or establishing a pretty good credibility on your end. For other call centers out there or marketing agencies out there, what they really do is they don't line up phone numbers, and that leads to a lot of bad quality calls. What happens there is their calls are flagged as spam. And while the calls are making all those calls, they get to the homeowner and the homeowner finds a spam flag right in front of their phones. What they should do is they should probably stop here, because that's wasting the time the caller is doing. That's wasting the time of the homeowner. And it's going to probably lead to a hang up, because I wouldn't trust someone spam flag in front of me here. The introduction and the script, of course, make a fair contribution to the case. But when it comes to doing the calls, you have to do it right in all angles. You just don't aim for one right angle and aim for it to happen right. So scripts, you have to hit the right angle with your phone numbers that you're calling from. Of course, I don't have to talk about local presence on your phone numbers, but you have to buy phone numbers exactly at the same area that you're dialing. So you can map it the right way. For every seat, on average, you're going to need about maybe anywhere between 60 to 100 phone numbers a month. So for 10 seats, you're probably looking at 1,000 phone numbers. That's the right. You're probably need more than 1,000 phone numbers, but 1,000 to start with is a pretty good okay number. Maybe if you're at 700 numbers, that's completely fine. You're probably going to get a few phone numbers flagged for spam, but it's not healthy to keep them inside. So you have to remove those, or you have to clean them up. There's a lot of registries and links that you could look into so you can clean up your numbers regularly. As long as you're doing a direct approach, as long as you're fulfilling the right thing, and as long as your data does not include any DNCs or or has full compliance on, you should be looking at a healthy average of 250 or plus appointments. I'm putting a very conservative amount of appointments and a very highly ended cost on the projected cost of 10 callers. Realistically, we charge that much for a 10-person call center on our end. When it comes to how you can get this whole thing started, get yourself an operations manager to start. Then have the operations manager build the process while they're implementing the process. They already know how to do it. So they could start hiring the callers, train them, and get them into the dialer. And as they're dialing, the operations manager starts building the process, building the scripts, building the whole thing, and he starts driving the rest of the staff with him. So that's the quality control person, the team manager, and the client success manager, if there's. Now, there's a lot of descriptions that are on the right here that you can play around or seek. There's a lot of variances for sure. The average that I have set over here is applicable to offshore and onshore operations. So you could either get an expert from the US and have them give you a full blueprint for like 2-3 grand. That's technically about the same cost you to get this from an offshore full time. You need a 100% commitment on your management staff. So you have to keep them always with you. Do not look for fractional roles just because you are not with the right budget. You have to do this right if you're doing it from the start. So that's pretty much all what I wanted to go over today. If you guys like this, we could do another model of your request. So let us know what else you want us to go over, and we can make more videos about it. Thank you so much, guys. If you need a link to this, if you need a template link for a budget setup like that, feel free to let me know, and I can grab you a copy for free.